Hello, everyone. My name is Fariba, and we're back to seeing the Penguin. There was actually a 10-day break in between the premiere and the second episode, which kind of crazy. But I'm also glad that this show is gonna be on a Sunday and not on a Thursday because, to be honest, the first episode I actually did not get to watch like immediately. I was at the movies watching new movies, and so I didn't watch until I got back home, and then I just didn't get to editing to it, and then it took me time to get into the editing to it because I was actually out of town. So I actually didn't even post my reactions to the first episode until like just a while ago. But I'm glad this is going to be on a Sunday, not on Thursdays, just because that means that I would be able to actually watch, the show without having any interferences. And plus, it just doesn't make sense to have it out on Thursday, especially this week, of course, because Joker Folie à Deux is coming out as well. So you wouldn't want to have Joker and the Penguin clash on the same night. So good on Warner Bros. For being smart on that. But glad it's going to be on a Sunday. But if you have not already seen my reaction to the first episode, just to really summarize, it's a really good show so far. I mean, it maintains the vibes and the tones that we got from the Batman movie, with Robert Pattinson, directed by Matt Reeves. It has a new vibe. It's very focused on the crime world. It definitely feels like it's The Sopranos and Godfather. It's a really good show so far. Really great acting. It does seem a little like interesting knowing that, this is in the superhero genre. So that's kind of the mix right there. But then again, we're focusing on the Penguin. The Penguin, himself wasn't even a major character in the Batman movie. He was like the tertiary antagonist. So, again, really interesting concept to be focusing on the Penguin, but so far it's been very intriguing just to kind of get a little bit more of this depth of how the crime world works, and doing so through the perspective of the Penguin. Colin Farrell, as always, is absolutely exceptional. I mean, just the fact that he is the Penguin, he is Oswald in this show, is insane because of how dramatic his look looks. It's very unusual. We were surprised by this back when we saw the Batman. We're still surprised now. Some really interesting things that we've seen so far as well in terms of the dynamic, meeting this character Sophia, just what's really going on, seeing a little bit more of Oswald and kind of what his ambitions are. But yeah, and it's gonna be very interesting just to see how this dynamic is gonna be like between Sophia and Oswald going forward, as well as with the kid Victor that that we saw, because of like it's kind of like the protege and the leader, kind of just all that sort of stuff, right? So very intrigued to see how it's gonna be like moving forward. I mean, this is already a top-notch show. Colin's absolutely great. The performances are absolutely exceptional. And I have to say, Colin is great, but I have to say the standout for this series is actually not even Colin, but Cristin Milioti. I mean, just from, the first episode, just like the way that she's very subtle as her character, and then getting closer and closer to the end where we actually see kind of just how scary she is. Like, you can really see my reaction, just like, oh my god, like, holy crap, you do not want to mess with her. So I'm very intrigued to see what more we're going to learn about her as we get more and more into the episode. So, but yeah, I don't even want to wait any longer because we waited 10 days for this. So without further ado, let's get right into the second episode of The Penguin. Oh, that's her Elias. Oh.
I swear to God.
You're safe.
Oh.
Okay. Okay.
You're not Northam anymore. You're safe.
You are very close.
I'm not safe.
Yeah.
I'm home.
Oh, fool, he's drinking Pepto. Okay.
Or I could drop your name to the Falcons right now and stop this war you brought on my family. Tell them it was you that whacked out Bertil and watch him slice you from ear hole to asshole.
Penguin!
Oh, they actually call him the Penguin.
The mafia, the government. One of them was organized. You ain't. You just gotta know your audience. Well, I'm not too clever. I just.
You fucking traitor!
Rainbows.
We can get more money, gentlemen. I think you're missing the point here. They humiliated our family. I mean, they took my brother and they shoved his body in the trunk of a car like he was a piece of trash.
Look, Sophia.
They had someone on the inside helping them. Someone in our own family.
How dare you with this shit? You waltzing in here like you mean something.
They'll answer for it.
Mm.
Let's call it a night. Look, if one of them had a hand in it, well, who's to say you ain't next? They didn't care about Al.
My
They sure as
church.
shit don't like you. They think you're...
Different than those bricks in there.
No, they ain't gonna say it, so...
Very, very convenient that all of a sudden you're on my side. Will you look at that? Right?
She ain't dumb,
My
man.
little helper.
All right.
Might as well shove a bar of goddamn soap in my mouth. Guns are on the way. Stop picking.
Stop picking.
Out of Arkham now. You hear about this?
The hangman. She was technically exonerated.
I don't care.
Wait,
And Sophia
leave it on.
Falcone is a serial killer. 7 women. And that's just who we know about.
What happened to him? Well, a few months later, Carmine caught him talking to the feds. Yeah, so Pinchy got popped, but Carmine saw something in me. Thought I was worth keeping around. And the rest is history.
Mm.
Welcome, ladies. I'm glad you could make it. Hey, Alice.
That's something I don't know if I'd feel comfortable.
Mm.
I'll need discretion.
Let me see what I can dig up.
Great.
Hmm. Sounds like a foreshadow right there, huh? Was she sleeping in the closet? My God, she was. Oh shit.
Keep asking me that.
I think okay. Sounds like she has a memory.
Mira, la encontré. ¿Cuántas cuadras? Estaba confundido. Está empeorando. Yo creo que va a necesitar ayuda permanente.
Oh, is you a doctor now, too? I don't pay you for your medical advice, is that? Jesus.
The hell?
Brother's memorial.
You said you wanted answers. I brought you answers. In the flesh.
Oh, is she going to abandon the memorial?
Because he ain't gonna last long.
You should know all your movements. Otherwise, you have no value to us. You broke your word, and that is not something our family tolerates. What am I looking at?
Johnny Vidia's fucking Luca Falcone's wife. They've been doing it for years. You're looking at the proof. That's just a cherry on top. I got all kinds
That
of
is messed up.
Lots of it.
Let's get him to talk. He'll have a lot to say about you.
Oh, he's screwed.
Vic, huh? Feel your heart beating? Mm-hmm. Good, good. Let's keep it that way, huh?
These guys over me. Bullshit. Bullshit.
Thank you, dress. You always had such great style.
Wow, first person to actually talk to her.
Do you remember all those wild nights at Lake Como?
Cheer.
Oh.
Aren't you pretty? Uh-oh. She's a real cutie, Carla. Yeah. Make sure you keep her protected. A young woman in this family might not end well for her.
Goddamn.
Sophia.
What the hell are you doing? My boss's car.
I work here. The alarm was going off.
Take something out of the car?
It's
Oh,
unfucking
boy.
believable. I mean, you and Sophia, you really thought that you could keep this from the family.
I mean, it's getting a little messy. Think about it. Oh, damn. I told you, it's getting a little too messy.
Oh, it's like, say it. I can't have that.
Oh. Oh my shit. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Not go behind my back.
Well, I did go to you, and you told me to weep about my dead brother and do nothing. There is a traitor in this family, and I brought you someone who can give us an actual fucking answer.
No one comes in.
Oh.
Search everyone for weapons.
We're looking for a knife.
Come on. Fuck you.
You touch me again, I'll have that goddamn hand cut off.
It was you, wasn't it? You sent us dead to get mad.
I know what he did there. I know what he did there.
Hey, everybody, back in line.
One of you is a traitor.
He's clean.
Got him. It was in his pocket.
That's not mine. That's not fucking. Get off of me. Miss Falcone, I swear to God, that is not mine. I would never do that.
Give me your gun.
I have been nothing but loyal to you.
Give me your fucking gun!
Oh well.
Didn't you spend your summer's day on Lake Como?
Oh my god. Not that again.
Eyes.
Oh, not again.
Lie down! Now!
Mm.
You know how close I got to get popped tonight? Because you fucked up? Then I gotta plant the blade and the jewels. A lot of work for me, Vic. A lot of work.
Look, I'm sorry, okay?
You fooled me. I delivered on every goddamn time.
Oh boy.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah? Mm-hmm.
Why? For what? Some diamonds. These were in Castillo's apartment. It's what Alberto went to get the night he died. And I refuse to let these old fucking men push me aside again like I'm nothing. So I'm gonna take from them now. And I'm gonna force them to their knees. This should be fun. What do you say, Oz? You in?
Let's dance.
So that was the second episode of The Penguin right there. And yeah, lots of how do you say it, double play right here. Let's just start with Oswald / the Penguin. And I have to say, like, throughout this whole episode, I'm just thinking, oh my god, he is being very, very messy with the whole, you know, how it's not really basically playing both sides but also doing so in a way that benefits him, of course. Like, the reason why he's only doing this is just so he can protect his own ass. I mean, that's clearly what's going on here, that, you know, he doesn't care about the Marines, he doesn't care about the Falcons, he only cares about himself and trying to help himself raise up among the ranks, and so eventually he can become his own kind of boss man. So but I have to say, even with that, right, like, it's been very messy. Like, you can see just some of the trails where it's like, oh man, he's like this close to kind of exposing himself to whether it be the Maronies or the Falcons. And then there's a lot of close calls, of course, throughout this whole episode. Like, I mean, he eventually does get himself out of, you know, trouble. But yeah, I have to say, it was very, very messy. I'm just like, oh my god, this is gonna get too messy. But now, considering the fact with what happened in this episode, right, and knowing the fact that he is also going to team up with Sophia because of the fact that he eventually somehow won her trust, I wonder how much of that, you know, that both sides and trying to play with both teams is going to work out, how it's going to continue on in the next few episodes. I don't know. I think there's 8 episodes of the show. I gotta look it up, but it's not gonna stick around, right? So it's not, or at least it's not going to hold on for too long, right? So that's one thing. I have to also say, you can see how he's being very manipulative, how he's being very calculating with trying to gain Sophia's trust. And I mean, you can see it even at one point. She's just like, you know what, like, I kind of see what kind of game you're playing. But we see it throughout the episode, right? He's trying to win Sophia's trust in any way, trying to subvert any intention on himself so that way they wouldn't figure out that he's, of course, the mole, right? We know that, you know, he's the mole, but they don't know, of course. But I was quite surprised to see that, you know, because of the events that do happen, she actually does end up now trusting him. Which is, like, of course, a, you know, like, an amateur move right there. So, gonna be very interesting to see how this dynamic's gonna work moving forward between Sophia and Oswald, and whether or not this also means that, you know, if this could imply, like, the eventual downfall for Oswald, especially with what I believe could be a foreshadow for this series, because he has a conversation with Vic of how he was once a driver, right? So basically kind of like the busboy, the, you know, the kid that you basically use, right? To kind of do your dirty work and all that sort of stuff. And we see that with what he's doing with Vic here, trying to get him to do kind of the side, you know, work and, you know, getting him to do basically the dirty stuff, right? And the fact that he mentioned how, you know, eventually the person that Oswald used to work for eventually was caught as an informant and was basically kind of taken out, only to then be known as a huge potential for the Falcons. It's like, is this trying to imply what could eventually be the case with Oswald's future? Because we're seeing kind of this similar dynamic between him and Vic. Vic is doing all the dirty work. He's basically the driver, the chauffeur. And does this imply that, because we're seeing how Oz is being very, very messy with his ploy, with his schemes, the fact that he is the mole to the Falcons, but also he's playing with the Maronies as well. Like, he doesn't care about either side of the team, right? He cares about himself. The team, he's Team Oz, right? He's not Team Falcon, he's not Team Maronies, he's Team Oz, right? And it's like, at what extent will this game continue with Oz, where he can continue to deceive both sides? And how long will that last, right? And I think that hearing that conversation between him and Vic, it's like, okay, does this imply that we're going to see a very fatal downfall for Oz? We'll see. We'll see if that's the case, especially because, again, like, what happens here, it's going to probably affect Batman too, right? Like, if Oswald is taken out, right, that means that he is, you know, probably not going to show up in Batman 2 unless there's, like, a whole different thing that, you know, ends up happening with Batman 2. If it's, like, something that happens before or during, who knows, right? So, but we're just going to have to keep an eye on that, right? I think one of the most interesting things about this episode, of course, is just unraveling who Sophia is, what she's going through, seeing a little bit of the perspective of what she's dealing with in her environments now that she's no longer in Arkham. We see glimpses of what her life was in Arkham, although of course that was just more of a dream. How she really valued her brother, how her brother is someone she really, really loved, especially because of the fact that he was like the one person who continued to communicate with her, continued to treat her in a more humane way, I guess you can say humane way, which is like, it's really weird to say that because of course knowing, you know, her Sophia's history that we keep hearing bits and pieces about, how, you know, what her serial killing, you know, life was like, what led her to be in Arkham. But again, at the same time, it's like, it's really odd because then as you see more of this episode, you can empathize with her and realize how much Albert meant to her, knowing that this loss was like something that really deeply affected her. She even got to the point where she wanted to immediately find out who the mole is, right? She wasn't even gonna wait. Like, she didn't even take into consideration Carmine's, you know, Carmine's plan for, you know, trying to find the mole, right? It's like you gotta wait and see how it unravels. Instead, she just wanted to be, you know, she wanted to get right into the whole idea and be like, okay, well, I'm not gonna wait. I want to know who killed my brother, right? So and take out the mole. So and again, you can see throughout this episode where you can just really empathize with her. We see bits and pieces where, you know, she's looking at her brother or she's imagining her brother, and then seeing how people are reacting to her, knowing that she did, you know, get exonerated, that she's no longer in Arkham, how people are being very weird around her, and it's like she's really alone. Like, you can see why she loved her brother Albert, because no one else treated her, you know, in a way that at least felt anywhere near normal, right? Albert was the only person who actually treated her as someone, right? And now here she is, her brother's gone. People don't really care about her. You can see how people are alienating her or outcasting her, how even her own uncle is treating her as if she's kind of like a nuisance in a way. So very interested to see how things are going to work out for her, how she's now going to try and kind of have her own way of, you know, rising to the occasion in the mafia world as well. And so gonna be very interesting dynamic seeing between Sophia and Oswald, kind of seeing the different perspective between these two characters, as well as, you know, who they are, what they're dealing with, what they're feeling personally. We even get to see an Oswald here, like, you know, with his whole mother, like we got that whole bit right there where we get to learn, where we realize that she has dementia and how he really cares for his mom. So it's really insane just seeing this, right? It's like, we know that these are some really bad people. They're antagonists to Batman, of course. And then, yeah, we also see how they're also humans because of the fact that they care about their family, how they value them, how, you know, loss is something that genuinely will hit them deeply, right? And I just say, really great writing right there. Again, lots of great performances. Again, I cannot say this enough. Cristin Milioti, I have to say, she is a standout. She still continues to be a standout. Just seeing her in this episode, right? It's just like, oh my god. Like, I honestly, I'm already just gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna just call it that she's probably gonna be one of the biggest contenders going into next year's Emmys, just with the performance that she's already pulling here, just the subtlety, just how, you know, even the fact that she's very scary, that fact that she's very menacing, and how it's so subtle, it's just like, oh my god, like, this is insane. Like, how is this even possible? And then, of course, Colin Farrell as someone who is just being very deceiving in this whole series, and yet, like, again, just knowing his ambitions and what he wants to do. I have to say, like, I mean, this is a sort of show that continues to, like, get you intrigued to see what's going to happen. Again, lots of the similar, you know, Sopranos, you know, crime drama, mobster vibes that we get out of here. We get to see a little bit more of just how the dynamic works. We get to see a little bit more of the Maroonies and just what they're doing, especially now that they're kind of getting back into the picture thanks to Oz. But I think overall, I'm just going to be very curious to see what's going to be Oz's next move, because we're seeing how he is someone who is only caring about himself, like even getting to a point where, like, you know, like the whole boundary between him and Vic, it's like, okay, well, is he still going to stick around with him, or is he just going to just, you know, dump him in the trash can? And if you can guess kind of why I'm saying, but yeah, so but yeah, again, another pretty solid episode right here. Again, lots of great performances, lots of great development. I think, again, it just flows in a way that's like, okay, yes, we got the beginning, but then once you get to the end, you're just like, oh my god, like, wow, what a way to kind of unravel this whole next chapter that we're going to have, knowing that things have now really shifted in the dynamic and the relationships, as well as just, again, what we're getting out of the story. It's not really stuck in one thing, but it evolves. So again, I cannot wait to see how this is going to turn out, how this is going to end as we get more and more into the series. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are having seen the second episode. We're finally going to have weekly episodes now. We're not going to have that 10-day delay in between episodes. Again, that was just mainly because they want to get back into the Sunday routine. But yeah, having seen that, right? Having seen the new episode, what are your thoughts going into the next few episodes, right? It's this relationship between Sophia and Oswald going to maintain? Is Oz really going to take advantage of this opportunity, or are we going to see a point where Sophia is going to eventually learn the truth? Will Oz survive the whole events? Because I feel like just with the story that we got about, his early life as like a chauffeur, like, do you think that was actually a foreshadow of what could happen to him? Or maybe we're just having red herrings. Maybe we're just thinking something else. What do you think it's going to be like moving forward, seeing kind of this dynamic, some of the, the things that we're going to see between the Maroonies versus Falcons, how this is going to affect some of the other characters? What does this mean moving forward, again, just in this whole, Gotham universe? And any theories that you think is gonna impact these characters, whether it be something like Oswald. Do you think he's gonna show up in Batman? Do we think we're actually gonna see Batman himself at any point in this show, or at least some other characters? I mean, we don't know yet, right? There's still a lot to unravel. And again, what are your thoughts getting a little bit more of that depth of who this character Sophia is, what her life was like, what it's like seeing her now that she is coming back into kind of this social world, I guess you can say. But yeah, let me know your thoughts are having seen just about the new details of right here. Let me know your thoughts below, and make sure to like and subscribe.